Well, Michelle, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
Thank you for having me on your podcast. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure. So, before we get into your life as a writer and property management, I want to know this. 5 years ago, this pandemic changed everything for all of us. How did you get through it? And how has it changed the way that you do things today?
So, actually, the pandemic was one of the best things that it was up there on the best things that actually happened. Uh, I was working in healthcare and I saw a lot of my coworkers leaving, being pushed out of healthcare because they wouldn't take the vaccine. And then they were bringing in, the hospital was bringing in travelers. They were making like three times the amount of money that I was, and I had to, train them. Meanwhile, I'm building my real estate business, and I went, I'm done. I'm done. Um, and then I really focused on my real estate business. I invested and purchased more monies through the or more properties through the pandemic than I have in my entire real estate career. So it really launched and jump started my financial independence, which then has turned around and allowed me to write my book and tell my story and now offer coaching in the resiliency women empowerment space.
So let's get into exactly what you do on a daily basis. And to do that, I want to put you in front of a bunch of kids. You're at a school, they're 12 years old, it's career day, and the kid in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" What's your answer?
So I am a real estate investor and property manager during the day.
Okay. And then you're an author as well.
Correct. So I am starting it's called the Resiliency Blueprint. It is a trademarked six-step process that I went through to get myself from basic survival and abuse and trauma to where I am now. So that is the book. It's called the Resiliency Blueprint, and that is the business that I am starting now.
So, what did you want to be at 12 years old when you were in elementary school? What was your dream job?
My dream job was to be a horseback rider.
Okay.
I wanted to go to Devon and the big horse shows and jump horses. That was my dream job.
I love it.
And be in the Marines. I also liked the Marines.
Okay. So, talk to me a little bit about early on, what were some foundational elements that made you love horses, to become a rider, to become kind of a survivor, real estate? How did all of these seeds get planted to become who you are?
So, my childhood has been fraught with a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse, a lot of things that would keep someone down. And there was always something inside of me, and I couldn't explain it then. It just, there was more. There's more to life, there's more to my situation. I saw my parents differently. I saw the people around me differently. I saw inconsistencies. And I wanted more. I wanted to get out of the situations that I was in. But unfortunately, you don't know what you don't know. So when you continue to be surrounded by those people and by those situations, you that becomes comfortable, and everything else becomes scary. So I had a defining moment. There's those moments are, there's a time before and there's a time after. And two of those moments is, one, my mom tried to kill me when I was younger, and two, my ex-husband, we got into a massive fight and police were called and it was domestic violence. So, like I said, there's defining moments of before and after. And after those instances, I really took stock in my life and said, no more. I will not put up with this anymore. And right after the domestic violence, um, I started looking at who I am, what I really want to do, and who I want to become. And I started reading books. Books were huge. I started reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. I started reading Dale Carnegie. I started reading Napoleon Hill. Um, the author for the Chicken Soup for the Soul, they have a $1 million author, I believe it is. No, it's The 1 Minute Millionaire is the book. And I just started really pouring into me and trusting my own intuition. And then the universe puts people in your way and in your place that when they tell you there's like these little nuggets of wisdom or seeds that they start planting in your life that you don't really understand what's going on then, and then they come to fruition later on, or you start really thinking about or ruminating about what they've said or different things, and one little nugget, one little seed can change the trajectory of your life. It really can.
It almost sounds like there was just a cycle that existed that you had to break, and you had to get to that point where you
Mhm.
decided you wanted something different. And in that light, who was that hero, that inspiration? Was there somebody that allowed you to become who you are today and to get out of that cycle?
I'm not going to say that there was any one person. I'm going to say there was a community. Uh, when I was going through this stuff with my ex-husband, I had, three very strong women who, each in their own right, held me together. One woman was like, "Okay, you've complained, you've talked about it. Now put your big girl panties on and let's get moving." There was another woman that owned a yoga studio, and she gave me, yoga lessons for free and was like, "You need to show up every day." So there really was this community of women around me, strong women around me, that wouldn't let me fall and yet still let me learn. And then when I did marry the husband that I have now, the partner I'm with now, one of the things that he said to me that no one else had ever said was, "What are your hopes and dreams and what do you want to do? And how can we make those happen?" And I went, "Whoa, crap, somebody actually believes in me? Like somebody cares about what I really want to do?" And that those questions actually spurred me to buy my first rental property. It was a condemned home through the city for $10,000. We worked nights and weekends to rehab it, um, rented it to a mother with children, and we still have that property to this day. And that actually started the real estate journey and the investor journey that I have been on.
So it's one thing to break the cycle to get to a better place, but it's another thing to feel like you want to help others do the same thing. What was that urging in you that made you want to kind of radiate out and do more for others around you?
So, I never had a voice. When I was younger, I didn't have a voice. People talked for me, over me, told me what I wanted to do, what I was supposed to do. Children were supposed to be seen and not heard. And that's what I grew up with. That's what my marriage was like. And as I was going through this journey, there was an organization called Milagro House on the same street that I had purchased my first property, and they were helping women with children. And they have a very big educational component to their housing. If it wasn't for these very strong women who helped me, my children and I would have been on the streets. I would have been on the streets. I would have been in a women's shelter. So when I was looking at how can I give back, my life has some type of meaning somewhere, some way. I started with that organization. And then as our children and have grown up and we've empty nested, one of the things was how can I give children a voice? How can I be that voice for another child? So we started being resource parents for developmentally disabled children. And we have one with us now, which that in itself actually and being that advocate for him has just expanded into multiple different areas of our lives.
Yeah, my son's 20, he's on the spectrum, so I'm pretty intimate with that world. I understand, and that's great. They that community needs all the resources they can get for sure. Um, so let me ask you this. If if you could go back, because obviously you had, your family life growing up was tumultuous. If you could go back in your family history and meet somebody in your bloodline that you never got the chance to meet and talk to them and get a better idea on what happened and where your family came from, would there be anybody you would love to meet?
I would say no.
Okay.
The only the only living relative past my family of origin now is my maternal grandfather, and he has been just a stabilizing force in my life, to the point where, my own mother has cut him off for many, many years. Um, I lost three of my other grandparents within 6 months of each other, I believe when I was 13, 14 years old. So, going back to say, hey, what went wrong? I'm not really interested in that.
Gotcha. So if you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now that you find inspirational, that maybe had a journey of going through hardship and surviving and thriving, is there anyone out there that you would love to meet and talk to?
Oh, multiple people. Absolutely.
Round table, who is it?
Yes, absolutely. Oprah Winfrey,
Yeah,
Michelle Obama, um, and the third one is oh my goodness. She literally, I was just listening to her this morning. Um, Hold on. You caught me and Mel Robbins.
excellent. So let me ask you this. Speaking of all these people, they have a high level of energy. They do all kinds of different things in their lives, personally and professionally. What is that energy for you every day? What wakes you up in the morning? What gets you moving to take care of, your clients, to make an impact, yourself, your family? What is that every day for you?
Oh, my big, hairy, audacious goal. So, so one of the amazing things about our lives is, we change our life by our thoughts. And my goals have changed based on, what I was going through, and how I'm healing and how I'm becoming who I need to be. So my big, hairy, audacious goal is about 50. So Christian Bale is doing this in California for foster children. He is creating a community where they can come together and live. So, my goal is about 50 to 100 acres, and we would create a community for developmentally disabled children and autistic children who, see, we don't want our children we don't want to outlive our children. We want our children to outlive us. And yet there's so many families who do not have resources for what happens when their children has outlived them, after they've passed.
Yeah.
So this community literally is going to be where, the children have independence, they have medical care, they have everything that they possibly would need in this community, um, that can help them and maintain a sense of self, a sense of independence, a self, and I continue to say a self of community, that they're not institutionalized, they're not marginalized by our society. So that's my big, hairy, audacious goal, that we create that.
That is probably one of my biggest fears in life is that right there. My son and what's going to happen and the way the world is and how all that works. So that brings me great comfort. I would love to get more information on that from you to put in show notes for anybody that wants to get involved, that wants to go further, because I think for every involved parent in their special needs children's life, it's terrifying to think what's going to
Mhm.
happen when we're gone. Um, so let me ask you this: if you were to have a dream tonight and you ran in to say the 18-year-old version of you, and you had a book in your hands, and it was a coffee table book of your life right now, and you walked up and handed it to that young version and said, "This is how your life turned out," Would that version of you believe it?
No,
W would you
nope.
give any advice?
Um, Not that she actually would hear and take to heart.
Yeah.
Nope. There's no way that at 18, um, no, I mean at 18, my parents were suing me. At 18, I was had to go through bankruptcy twice. Um, I found out I was pregnant. There was no way. No.
So, of everything that you've gone through, everything you've evolved through and become today, what are you ultimately the proudest of?
I am the pr the proudest of actually myself. Like the fact that I was able to go and get help, and I still, am seeking help and different modalities to deal with my trauma, to move forward, to give back, to make sure that my life has purpose to the other people around me and I'm not a hindrance, I'm actually a help. Or that there is a little nugget of wisdom that I've imparted to somebody that maybe they don't understand for years later, and yet it comes full circle and it helps them, and then they help others. So I would say that's the proudest that I'm of myself.
So, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone you work with, everyone that gets your book, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm amazing. No, yes, everyone has a perception. My parents have a way different perception of me than my husband, than my contractors, than, someone that's going to be reading the book. And you know what? It's all me. That is all that those perceptions is all of me. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's how I show up. And I can only show up to the best of my ability and not be beholden to how they're looking at me through their rose-colored glasses. I don't know if that answered your
It
question or
does.
not.
It does. It certainly does. So, if anyone wants to get your book, they want to reach out, any of the good business in your world, where's the best place to go?
So for the book, the website and the coaching, it's the resiliency-blueprint.com. And then the email is on the website.
Okay.
And then as far as property management and investing and real estate, that is my other company is Magnetic Property Management. And that website is magneticmgt.com.
Okay. I will put all these links in the show notes. This has been wonderful, Michelle. Thank you. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your story. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you so much for having me. I truly enjoyed speaking with you, and this was amazing. Thank
Yes,
you.
absolutely. Thank you.